Y'all, Say is busy because I just recorded a whole word and it was like half of it recorded the first 5 minutes, the rest of it didn't. But I'm going to do this really quick. Happy first quarter of, happy first day of the second quarter of the year. Prepare for the unexpected. That's all I'm going to say about that. Prepare for the unexpected. But this is a really quick word. So yesterday, I'm in the Starbucks parking lot, guys. I just had to get me a little chai latte and some breakfast. But I'm in the Starbucks parking lot before I head to the hospital to see my sister. But yesterday was Resurrection Sunday, right? And I'm here in Miami. For those of you that don't know, I think majority of you probably do know that I'm here to see my sister who's been in the hospital in the ICU. But I walked in my sister's hospital room yesterday, and I woke up and I went to get her some breakfast to bring it to the hospital, asked her what she wanted or whatever. So I really just took my time yesterday morning to go get breakfast and, took my time. I'm like 10 minutes. My hotel's like 10 minutes away from her hospital. So I did all the things and went to the hospital, and my sister was playing a sermon on her tablet. And I walked in at the right time. God's timing is perfect, guys. His timing is always perfect. And I didn't expect my sister to be listening to a sermon. I didn't even know she listened to sermons on, any day. But she was listening to a sermon. And the guy was talking. I don't know who this pastor was. I never looked at the screen. I was just listening. And the part that I got when I walked in, he was telling a story, and God brought me back to that story this morning and just began to minister to my heart about it. So I'm on here to share it with you guys. But what he was saying in his sermon, of whatever his sermon was about, I don't know, because I didn't listen to the rest after this. But he was saying how this lady was walking her dog, and she loved her dog so much. And her dog jumped into a canal, a really deep canal. And she jumped in after the dog to save the dog's life. And they both were found dead either the next day or later that night or whatever, because the canal was too deep. Like, the waters were too deep for her and for the dog. And he was saying her intentions were good, but she didn't have the power to save that dog. Y'all better catch this spiritually. Her intentions were good, right? She loved her dog. Anything you love, you're willing to jump in and save, right? She loved her dog, so her intentions were good. Her heart was good. Her heart was in the right place, but her power wasn't there for this effort. She did not have the power to save herself or to save that dog. The water was just too deep. And the Lord began to minister to me about this morning as I was sitting in my hotel room. I really took my time this morning. I was so exhausted. I flew in Saturday, 5 a.m., and I've just been on the go, seeing my sister and all the things, and I was just tired. So I slept in this morning. I checked out really close to checkout time, which is normally not normal for me. But as I was sitting in the bed, the Lord just brought this back to me. And I'm going to release this word to you guys, and excuse my stutter, and it's still kind of early here. When I originally recorded this, it was exactly 11 a.m. But I couldn't even upload that recording because anyways. But many of you, God has promised you something. A restoration of a relationship, a restoration of a divine connection, prodigal children coming home, a promotion, financial blessings, financial relief, whatever God has promised you. And it's like when God gives us a promise, a lot of the times we feel like we have to jump in and save and rescue this thing. Like we have to bring this thing under wraps. Like we have to will it in, right? We feel like, okay, God promised it, it's going to be, but let me go ahead and will it in. The Lord is saying your intentions and your heart may be in the right place, but this is beyond your power. This is beyond your power. And if you jump in and he didn't tell you to jump in, he's not telling you to do this, you could end up drowning in that thing. You could end up drowning. For many of you, he may have promised you a marriage restoration to a husband and a wife, or a wife, and your hands are all in it when he didn't ask you to. So you're just like this lady jumping in the deep waters trying to save something, but that water is too deep for you. Your intentions in your heart is good because you know what God told you, and you know who these people or this person serves in your life, and this is not just for marriage. Again, this could be for a promotion at a job. This can be for financial blessings God has promised, whatever he's promised to you, and you're just jumping in head first trying to save this thing, but you're drowning in the midst of it. So you're getting depressed and frustrated, and people are speaking death over your life, and they're trying to kill your spirit, and you're aggravated with God when he never told you to jump in and try to save them. He never told you to jump in and try to save it. When he promises something, the promise won't return to him void. That means when it's time for that promise to be fulfilled, he fulfills it. You're not to fulfill that promise. He's the only person that could do it. But many of you guys are jumping into deep waters to try to save a person, to try to save that thing, to try to save that position, when your intentions are good and your heart is pure, but that is beyond your power. That power is in God's hands. And when it's time for him to do it, he will. Don't allow yourself to drown in this thing. Don't allow this thing to bring you fear and depression and the people you're running after. The people God said, you're my husband, you're my wife. God said, you're supposed to be in my life as a friend. God said, you're a divine connection, and I'm just wanting to minister to you. Thus says the Lord. And God didn't tell you to say anything to them. He prophesied it to you so that you would know what's going on and so that you would know what's in the will for your life. But it wasn't for you to go and try to save them and bring them back. The prodigal son's father didn't chase after him. When the prodigal son came to the end of himself and realized he had messed up, he came home. When he came to the end of himself and realized who his father was, he came home. When that thing, that person, whatever, comes to the end of itself, comes to the end of the ending that God has for it, it's going to come home to you. It's going to be brought home to you. You don't have to jump in the deep waters and drown to save that thing. That's God's job. Your intentions in your heart is good, but you don't have the power to save. You don't have the power to will this thing in. But best and believe, when it's God's timing for this promise to come to pass, God will jump in and do it. And he doesn't have to jump in deep waters. All he has to do is blow on that thing, and it has to go in alignment with whatever he needs it to do. Look at that thing, and it has to go back home. He does not have to take drastic measures to accomplish anything. He could snap a finger and that thing comes running back to you. It comes running back so full force you can't even shake it. Like, when it's time, God knows. So yes, intentions are good. Your heart is pure, but you don't have the power to save and will this thing back in. Allow God to do it. He said he would do it. And he told me he is obligated to fulfill his promises to us. And I'm going to keep bringing that up because I've never heard, no pastor had never preached he's obligated to perform. God spoke to me himself in a dream and told me he's obligated to perform everything that he tells us he's going to do for us. He's obligated. There's an obligation there. And look up the definition of obligated when you get a chance. And you'll see how serious God is about what he speaks over your life and what he speaks to you. But don't try to jump in the deep waters and save this thing and end up drowning in the process and going through the motions in the process. God doesn't want you depressed and fearing things and having people speak death over you because they don't believe what you're saying and so forth. It's not your job to take drastic measures. God will perform this thing whenever he's ready. All you have to do is open your spiritual ears, open your spiritual eyes, allow your heart to be receptive to God's leading so that when it's time for you to do your part, you're right in position and you're ready. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. That's all you have to do is keep your ears, your eyes, and your heart positioned towards God. So when he tells you, okay, now you go, then you know that it's your turn. But don't just jump in and try to save this thing when God did not give you the power to do so. God is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. He's the most powerful. He's omnipotent. He's all powerful. Omnipresent. He's everywhere. Omniscient. He's all knowing. You don't have to know, do, or say anything unless God leads you to. Don't jump in and try to save this thing and end up drowning in the process. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I love you. Happy Monday. Did I say happy Tuesday in the beginning of this? I don't even know, guys. But I love you guys. Thank you for your kindness and for all the things. I love you, and I hope you have a blessed Monday. This word is for somebody, even if it's for a couple people. But I feel like this is for a lot of people. You don't have to jump in and save it. God's got it. He is the life vest. He is the life vest. Just do your part. So I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.